Hello, and here we are, back again at Perfectly Paranormal, episode 127. My name's Annaschmidt, and I'm here every week to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. And today you're going to get the inside understanding of divorce homes. Now, there's a topic that people don't often think about when it comes to buying or renting a new place to live. And I'm also going to share what I consider to be 6 important points to consider for those looking at buying or renting a property. So hang in there till the end for those. Homes and other buildings often hold both positive and negative energy. You hear me talk about it all the time. And this energy can be in the structure of the buildings, the furniture, the fittings, and most importantly, the space within each room, and the hallways, and even the outdoor areas. So I thought it would be really good to give you an understanding of how this works and what I actually mean by divorce homes and how that energy can affect you. So when we're talking divorce homes, the emotional friction, the arguments, the rivalries partners get into and sort of act out in their home, whether they're dramatic or not, it doesn't matter. It's the energy that comes with it. Leaves masses of energetic buildup. Quite often, very large pools of negative energy, wherever that negative interaction has taken place in the home. And what in turn does that attract? Bet you know, it attracts the dark energy feeders. So you've not only got parents that are unhappy in a home, you've got kids that are unhappy in a home, and then you've got these paranormal energy beings coming in and just adding that third level of energy where people are just unhappy. But also the emotional responses. This is important. The emotional responses from children who are witnessing or hearing mum and dad at each other's throats. That can really create another level of energetic build-up in the homes. Quite often in bedrooms, because where do kids run and hide when there's an argument? They'll go to the place where they feel the safest. So it's beds, bedrooms, sometimes closets. So the actions and the emotions and the energy of the people leaves those people and future renters or purchasers or occupants of that home, it leaves them marinating in other people's past emotional baggage, and it really does create a great big energetic mess. Now, I have a prime example for you of how the human body can react to the build-up of negative divorce energy in a home. Now, this occurred for a client of mine. She's actually a good friend of mine. And she gave me permission, like I said, to share her experience. Now, Sandy and her partner bought a very spacious 3-level home here in southern Tasmania. This is a few years ago now. Now, the home, as we found out later, had actually been a divorce home. And I'm going to explain to you how this story unfolded. When I do work for clients, they will give me the age of the building, when the house was built, when they moved in, if there was any previous buildings on the site. We don't often get information about the previous renters or owners or occupants of the home. Now, Sandy knew some information, but she didn't tell me. I like to just go in and see what the emotions and the trauma energy shows me, what the building shows me, what I feel when I connect to that property. Now, Sandy and her partner bought a spacious home here in southern Tasmania. This is probably around 5 years ago now. And the home, as we found out later, had quite an interesting past and could very well have been a divorce home. And I'm going to explain to you how I think that is possible as the story unfolds. Sandy had a very loving relationship with her partner. They'd been together for decades. They had children and they were very, very happy. And when they moved into this particular house, Sandy's mental and emotional states changed. She lost all sense of self-worth, she was feeling unheard, and she just wasn't looking after herself. which wasn't the way that Sandy normally lived her life. There was a total change in her personality, you might say. She just wasn't herself. And she said she strongly felt that her partner was seeing someone else. And those emotions that came with those thoughts of adultery hit her so hard that she nearly took herself off to the psych ward. Like, her partner wasn't having an affair. But Sandy was so energetically sensitive, and her mind and body were picking up on the previous occupant's infidelity towards his wife and confusing it with her own husband. Now, that's not a consideration that I went to instantly. But as I go into homes, I will enter the front door energetically and I go through each room. There is an OCD process that I use, very, very detailed in the work. The emotional energy that is left in a home by the previous occupants and the trauma energy, they tell a story. Homes have history. Homes hold the energy of the people that lived there in the past, both positive and negative. It's not always negative, but that is what I focus on in this podcast. The following emotional and trauma imprints really do build a very vivid picture of the lives of people in this home, past, and what the present occupants have been marinating in for the last 5 years or so. Now, the following list is rather long, and I am going to read them all, so you're going to get an idea of what these people were living amongst. There's 42 emotional imprints that I picked up on. And the emotional imprints that I cleared from this home were despair, insecurity, ungrateful, abandonment. Now, that's a big one when it comes to divorce energy. Vulnerability, depression, sorrow, intolerance, contempt, powerless, regret, anxiety, hopelessness, criticism, greed, discontent, overwhelm, rejection. Now, I don't often find rejection in homes. So that usually says there's something going on in people's relationships. There was also paranoia, conflict, doubt, indecisive, rage, hostility, distress, helplessness, judgment, hatred, and blame. Now, hatred is another emotion I don't often find large build-ups of in homes. There was also frustration, resentment, bitterness, unsupported, worthless, shame, loneliness, burdened, unworthy, humiliation, which I don't often find in homes, unwanted, and sadness. Now, I know that's a very long list of emotions, but if you think about it, it really does build a picture of someone in despair. They're feeling insecure, vulnerable. They're feeling like they've been abandoned. You know, it just says to me, the building shows me, it tells me what's been going on in homes. So also within the whole home, there were trauma imprints present. Now, trauma imprints are the actions that people do that create a vibration, and they also too get absorbed into the walls, the floor, the ceiling, the furniture, the space within rooms. And within this house, there was a combination of trauma imprints of verbal abuse, physical violence, domestic violence type behaviours, threats, mental and emotional instability, depression. The picture of those emotions that are present in that home. They're angry. They feel like they've been abandoned. They're feeling humiliated. Because humiliation and abandonment, I don't often find those in homes. So that paints a picture of what went on in that home. And why when Sandy, who's energetically sensitive, moved in, her life was literally turned upside down. And since the home is being cleared, Sandy said that she feels lighter, she feels brighter, she feels like getting on with her life. She's still with her partner. They love each other very, very much. All that negative thinking and all that going round and round and round in her mind with, the adultery and he doesn't love me and he's seeing someone behind my back, all that is gone. Because all the emotional imprints have been removed, the trauma imprints have been removed. The whole house had an energetic spring clean. So often divorce homes from one family become continuous divorce homes. Everyone is going to know a home where, oh my God, it's up for sale again. There's new people living in that house again. What's going on? It tells me that there's either been some sort of crime, whether it's been a suicide, a murder, or, who knows? There's a bajillion crimes out there that could be in a home. Or is it a divorce home? People move in all happy and loving, and then all of a sudden their life just turns to crap basically, and they don't know why. And I really do feel for them. It's not them. Most of the time it's not them. It can be the energy that's in the home. And sometimes these homes, like I just said, they're a divorce home once and it just continues. It just becomes a pattern for everyone that lives there. Not everyone is going to be as energetically sensitive as Sandy. But most people, sort of around 70% of the population, have some level of intuitive openness, intuitive awareness, that gut instinct. And they can feel or sense changes in the environment around them because we live, sleep, eat, and we play at home a lot. We're at home a lot. And no wonder homes are breeding grounds for massive build-ups of emotional and trauma energy. So for those looking at buying or renting a property, these are the 6 points that I think need to be considered. Now, number 1, always ask the realtor, is this a divorce home? Why is this home being sold? I don't know whether they are legally bound to tell you what has gone on in the home. I mean, you would want to know if it was a suicide home or there'd been murder in the home or if it was a drug den. You would want to know. And there's no difference asking if it's a divorce home. So don't be embarrassed to ask the question. And quite often you'll be able to tell by the body language. You will know by the way the realtor's eyes move, if they look away, if they start looking a bit nervous or if their words start to stumble. Maybe they've been told not to tell you. So then it comes down to their ethical and moral values. Do I tell them or not? So number 2, talk to the neighbours if you can. So visit the neighbourhood without the realtor. Go and knock on people's doors and say, hi, I'm such and such. I'm thinking about buying this property next door. We would like to ask you some questions about the people that live there. Most neighbours love to have a bit of a gossip, about the person next door or the person across the road. There's always a gossip in the street. Who knows what's going on in the middle of the night? People know what their neighbours get up to. So talk to the neighbours if you can. So number 3, use your intuitive senses when viewing a property. How do you feel in the house? How do you feel when you look at it? When you walk into it? How do you feel mentally, emotionally, physically? Get your partner, if they're open to it and don't roll their eyes, get your partner to do the same. If you take your children with you when viewing a home, observe their behaviours and their reactions to the home. And number 4, when you're in the home with the realtor, ask more questions. Like I said before, just use your intuition and see what comes to you. You'll be surprised what sort of questions will pop up as you're walking around the home, because most realtors won't be expecting you to ask numerous questions. They will be expecting you to use the visual. It'll all be visual, how beautiful the place is and so forth. But you can dig and ask questions because you're going to be paying a lot of money, whether you're renting or whether you're buying. You're paying money for this property. You need to know the information. So don't just get caught up in the newly painted walls and the freshly laid carpet. Feel the energy of the home. What is it telling you? Now, number 5, do more than one visit to the home if you can. Because you can say to the realtor, look, we are seriously interested in buying this. We would like to go and have another look. And if they really want to sell it, they're not going to say no. Now, the first visit when you go to a new home, it's all very exciting, and you're glazed over with the beauty of the place. And your excitement might be overriding the warning bells that are going off in your head when you're walking through the bathrooms, or a bedroom that feels a bit strange, or the kids are like, Mummy, I don't like that room. And you go in there and you can't see anything, but the kids are like, oh, no, we're not going in there. Children are very, very aware of energy in homes, especially young children. Well, around about the age of 6. It's generally before they've started school and their brains have become a little bit more acclimatised to order, routine, and their intuition gets put on the back burner when they're at school. But do more than one visit. And if you can't take your kids with you the first time, take them with you the second time. And just ask them, what do you think of this place? And listen to what they say. Because you would be surprised how open kids are psychically to what's going on in homes. Now, lastly, if you do buy a home and find out later from a nosy neighbour that it is a divorce home, or you notice that your relationship with your partner starts to take a weird turn, it's like, why are we arguing? Why are we throwing things at each other? Why are the kids off the show when normally you're a really settled family? Seek out an energy worker. Seriously, you've got to get someone in. And I'm not just talking about saging and crystals. They are good for raising the vibration of a home, but they're not going to clear out the divorce energy. They just really aren't going to do it. Now, I did an episode on finding trustworthy energy workers back in episode 118. And I really do strongly suggest you have a listen to that episode, because I give lots of information on how to avoid the charlatans that are just going to take your money and they're not going to improve the energy of your home. They're actually going to make it worse. And how you can find yourself a trustworthy energy worker. So I hope you found this interesting today. I know divorce homes people talk about it, but they don't really take it on board as a possibility of all that energy building up and then new people moving in, and they're just wandering around marinating in other people's emotional baggage. And believe me, it happens more often than what you think. So if this is for you, find yourself an energy worker, just like Sandy did. And she really has noticed a massive change in the energy of the home, and she is feeling herself again. So in episode 128, we are talking to Rebecca Shaper. Rebecca is a filmmaker and an author of an inspiring book called Roses to Rainbows, My Dog Gus in the Afterlife. Now, Rebecca shares her experiences with grief, trauma, and truly eye-opening and just the most amazing spirit experiences with her beloved dog Gus, now in spirit form. Rebecca has so much to share. It is a truly amazing episode. I really enjoyed recording that interview with Rebecca. So stay tuned for next week's groundbreaking episode, and I look forward to spending time with you then. And if you like this episode, you want to learn more about the paranormal, I am always sharing new information that nobody else does. Please hit the subscribe button. Send me a comment. Send me one of your stories. So thank you for joining me today. And don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording, or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.